Yes, Inspector. Please sit down.
Thank you, sir.
I'll have a porter and a little whiskey.
No, thank you, Mr. Berlin. I'm on duty.
You're new, aren't you?
Yes, sir. I'm only recently transferred.
I thought you must be. I was an older man for years and Lord Mayor here 2 years ago. So I know the Bromley police officers pretty well, and I thought I'd never seen you before.
Right, so?
Well, what can I do for you then? Some trouble about a warrant?
No, Mr. Berlin.
Well, what is it then?
I'd like some information if you don't mind, Mr. Berlin. 2 hours ago, a young woman died in the infirmary. She'd been taken there this afternoon because she'd swallowed a lot of strong disinfectant. Birds were inside her, of course.
My God.
Yes, she was in great agony. They did everything they could for her at the infirmary, but she died. Suicide, of course.
Yes, horrid business, but I don't see why you should come here, Inspector.
I've been round to the room she had, and she left a letter there in a sort of a diary. Like a lot of these young women who get into various kinds of trouble, she'd used more than one name, but her original name, her real name, was Eva Smith.
Eva Smith.
Do you remember her, Mr. Berlin?
No. I seem to remember hearing that name, Eva Smith, somewhere, but it doesn't convey anything to me.
She was employed in your work something. Sorry.
I don't see where I come into this.
She was employed in your work something.
Oh, that's it, is it? Well, we've several hundred young women there, you know, and they keep changing.
This young woman, Eva Smith, was a bit out of the ordinary. Found a photograph of her in her lodgings. Perhaps you remember her from that.
Any particular reason why I shouldn't see this girl's photograph, Inspector?
There might be.
And the same applies to me, I suppose.
Yes.
Can't imagine what it could be.
And I must say, I agree with you, Inspector.
It's the way I like to go to work. One person and one line of inquiry at a time. Otherwise, there's a money.
I see. Sensible, really. You've had enough of that, poor Eric.
I think you remember Eva Smith now, don't you, Mr. Berlin?
Yes, I do. She was one of my employees, and then I discharged her.
Is that why she committed suicide? When was this?
Just keep quiet, Eric, and don't go getting excited. This girl was nearly 2 years ago. Let me see, it must have been in the early autumn of 1910.
Yes, end of September 1910.
That's right.
Look here, sir, wouldn't you rather I was after this?
I don't mind you being here, Gerald, and I'm sure you've no objection, have you, Inspector? Perhaps I ought to explain that this is Mr. Gerald Croft, son of Sir George Croft, you know, Crofts Limited.
Mr. Gerald Croft.
Yes, incidentally, we've been modestly celebrating his engagement with my daughter, Sheila.
I see. So Mr. Gerald Croft is going to marry Miss Sheila Berlin.
I hope so.
And I prefer you to stay.
Oh. All right.
Look, there's nothing mysterious or scandalous about this business, at least not as far as I'm concerned. It's a perfectly straightforward case. And as it happened more than 18 months ago now, nearly 2 years ago, obviously it has nothing to do with the wretched girl's suicide, Inspector?
No, sir, I can't say I agree with you then.
Why not?
Because what happened to her then may have determined what happened to her afterwards. And what happened to her afterwards may have driven her to suicide. A chain of events.
Oh well, put it like that, there's something in what you said, so I can't accept any responsibility. If we were all responsible for everything that happened to anybody we've ever had anything to do with, it'd all be very awkward, wouldn't it?
Very awkward.
We'd all be in an impossible situation, wouldn't we?
By Jove, yes. And as we're saying, Dad, a man has to look
All
after
right, we
himself.
needn't go into that.
Going to what?
Oh, just before you came, I was giving these 2 young men a little good advice. Now, about this girl, Eva Smith, I remember her quite well now. She was a lively-looking kind of girl, countryman, I fancy, and she'd been working in one of our machine shops for over a year. A good worker, too. In fact, one of the foremen there told me he was ready to promote her into what we call a leading operator, head of a small group of girls. But after they came back from the holidays that August, they were all rather restless and suddenly decided to ask for more money. They were averaging about 22 and 6, which is neither more nor less than is paid generally in our industry. They wanted the rates raised so that they could average about 25 shillings a week. I refused, of course.
Why?
Did you say why?
Yes, why did you refuse?
I don't see it any concern of yours how I choose to run my business, is it now?
Might be.
I don't like that tone.
I'm sorry, but you asked me a question.
And you asked me a question before that. A quite unnecessary question, too.
It's my duty to ask questions.
Well, it's my duty to keep labour costs down. And if we'd agreed to this ridiculous demand for a new rate, we would have added about 12% to our labour cost. Does that satisfy you? So I refused. So they couldn't possibly consider it. We were paying the usual rates. They didn't like those rates. They could go and work somewhere else. It's a free country, I told them.
It isn't if you can't go and work somewhere else.
Right, so.
Look, just you keep quiet. You hadn't even started in the works when this happened. So they went on strike.
Can I just stop you a minute? Stuart, can you try gesticulating more? Use your hands more. Put them behind your back. Yeah.
Strike.
Yeah.
I didn't last long.
Yeah.
I would have a glass and all that.
Well, yeah, use one. I've got plenty. I've got 5 there, so use them. Because you'll have to get used to where you're putting them down and things. Yeah? I've got more, so you take
And a
that
cigar.
one, Ross.
But I still had the cigar this time.
Well,
So they went on strike.
maybe. I mean, it'd be nice
That
if
didn't
you
last
were.
long.
It would be
Splashing
nice if you
balls
were
all over the
strutting
place.
round, the drink buffet.
So they went on strike. That didn't last long, of course, did it?
Blowing smoke rings.
The man.
No, so they went on strike. Did you expect?
They threw it at me, I won't catch it.
Okay, so you'll have to decide.
It's expensive.
Damn you! Oh, damn
Twenty
you!
each.
Damn you!
No,
Damn
it's
you!
Don't break them. I like keep them afterwards. 5 glasses for a pound.
Really? They're not right. Carry on.
I've got some really nice kind of crystally ones at home.
What's your name? Ross.
Steve.
Carry on. Right.
Right, Joe, they're not sleep there. So was a strike.
You didn't get that far. Didn't get that far.
Somewhere about.
Go from, did you say wine, Inspector? Go from there, or is that too far?
No, it isn't if you can't go and work
If
somewhere
I had a
else.
glass here, we'd have my hand.
Yeah, go from there, explain.
Like that.
Which is by your side, no, not with your thumbs in.
Did
your
you
pocket.
say? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello?
Go from Eric's line.
61982. It isn't if you can't go and work somewhere else.
Right, so.
Look, you hadn't even started in the works when this happened. So they went on strike. That didn't last long, of course.
Not if it was just after the holidays. It'll be broke if I know them.
Right, Gerald, they mostly were, and so was the strike after a week or two. Pitiful affair. We let them all come back at the we let them all come back at the old rates, except for the 4 or 5 ringleaders who started the trouble. I went down myself and told them to clear out. And this girl, Eva Smith, was one of them. She had a lot to say, far too much, so she had to go.
You couldn't have done anything else.
You could. You could have kept her on instead of throwing her out. I call it tough luck.
Rubbish! If you don't come down sharply on some of these people, they'll soon be asking for the earth.
So.
They might, but after all, it's better to ask for the tea.
What did you say your name was, Inspector?
Good. G-O-O-L-E.
And how do you get on with our Chief Constable, Colonel Roberts?
I don't see much of it.
Or perhaps I ought to warn you that I'm an old friend of his, and that I see him fairly frequently. We play golf together up at the West Bromley.
I don't play golf.
No, I didn't suppose you did.
Well, I think it's a damn
Should
shame.
your reactions be bigger, Gerald? And you're doing a beautiful,
keep looking at you.
subtle. No, I think he is doing it, but you're doing it in a very filmic way. You're being terribly subtle. We need a little bit more. Yeah. I should cuckoo. Just, we need more from you, okay?
Or perhaps I ought to warn you that he's an old friend of mine, that I see him fairly frequently. We play golf together up at the West Bromley.
I don't play golf.
No. Oh God, that word, I got that wrong.
No.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't suppose you did.
That's better, not to get the drink. Now that's it, that is a perfect react, that's good.
Ah.
Well done. Well, if you were going to have a drink, we
No,
said,
I didn't
didn't we,
suppose you
before
did.
the wine, Stuart, we said if we're going to get the drink sorted, when you say they wanted the rates raised so they could average about 25 shillings, I refused, of course, and have a
Me?
drink. Yeah, and you looking at him and he'll do another big
I
reaction.
refused, of course.
Yeah, and then, why?
Did you say why? Did I do that?
No.
Not as big, but did you say?
Yeah. Still do your looking around as if you can't believe what he dared to ask.
Did you say why?
Okay? Right, that's it. Because you've got to incorporate these props now, so that's
Ready?
a good thing.
Let's go for it.
No, not right back there, I guess.
So,
Perhaps I ought to warn you in the same place.
yeah, that's right.
Perhaps I ought to warn you that he's an old friend of mine, and as I see him fairly frequently. We play golf together up in the West Bromley.
I don't play golf.
No, I didn't suppose you did.
That's
Well, I think-
lovely. Good.
Stop it now!
I'm complimenting them, I'm praising them.
We try and get
I've got to. Well, I think 3 times now.
Go on.
Well, I think it's a damn shame.
No, I've never wanted to play.
No, I mean about this girl, Eva Smith. Why shouldn't they try for higher wages? We try for the highest possible prices. And I don't see why she should have been sacked just because she's a bit more spirit than the others. You said yourself she was a good worker. I didn't let her
Look, if you don't quiet down, you're never in a position to let anybody go, or to tell anybody to stay. It's about time you learned to face a few responsibilities. That's something this public school and varsity life you've had doesn't seem to teach you.
We don't need to tell the inspector about that, do we?
I don't see you need to tell the inspector anything more. In fact, there's nothing else I can tell him. They went. I told the girl to clear out, so she went. That's the last I heard of her. Any idea what happened to her after that, Inspector? Get into trouble, got on the streets.
No, she didn't exactly go on the streets.
What's this about streets? Oh, sorry, I didn't know. Mum is somebody tells me how it comes to the drawing room yet.
I'll be long in a minute now, I'm just finishing
I'm
it.
afraid not.
There's nothing else you know. I've just told you that.
What's this all about?
Nothing to do with you, Sheila. Run along.
No, wait a minute, Spurley.
Now look here, Inspector. I consider this uncalled for and officious, and I've half a mind to report you. I've told you all I know, and it doesn't seem to me to be very important. Now, there isn't the slightest reason why you should drag my daughter into this unpleasant business.
What business? What's happening?
I'm a police inspector, Miss Spurley. This afternoon, a young woman drank some disinfectant and died after 2 hours of agony tonight in the infirmary.
Oh, how horrible. Was it an accident?
No, she wanted to live her life. She felt she couldn't go on any longer.
Well, don't tell me that's because I discharged her from my employment nearly 2 years ago.
Well, that might have started it.
Did you, Dad?
Yes. She was causing trouble in the works. It was quite justified.
I believe it was. I know we'd have done the same thing. Don't look like that, Sheila.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just I can't help thinking about this girl. Destroyed herself so horribly. And I've been so happy here tonight. Well, why did you have to tell me? What was she like? Quite young?
Yes, 24.
Pretty?
She wasn't pretty when I saw her today, but she had been pretty. Very
There's
pretty.
none of that sort of talk.
I don't see that this inquiry gets you anywhere, Inspector. What happened to this girl after she left Mr. Burling's employment that's important.
Obviously. That's what I tried to suggest some time ago.
We don't. And we don't know. Oh, okay. And we can't help there because we don't know.
Are you sure you don't know?
Are you suggesting that one of these knows something about this girl?
Yes.
You didn't come here just to see me, then?
No.
Well, if I'd known that earlier, I wouldn't have called you officious or talked about reporting
Right,
you.
can we have a real big change in you then?
Me?
Yes.
Me, out.
Well, I can't stand those chairs.
What do you mean I'm being cooperative now?
Well, if I'd known that.
Yeah, right.
Slight laughing at me, trying to just
Same.
lighten the situation
Alright, well.
now. What's the matter, Ross?
She broke the chairs.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll call your agent if I'm me.
Well, if I had known that earlier, I wouldn't have called you officious and talked about reporting you. You understand that, don't you, Inspector? I thought you were making the most out of this tiny bit of information I could give you. I'm sorry. This makes a difference. You sure of the facts?
Some of them, yes.
Well, I don't see they could be of any great consequence.
The girl's dead, though.
What do you mean by saying that? You talk with it as if we're...
All right, Sheila.
Right, sorry, just slightly with the positioning.
One
here.
better. My actually.
Much better, yeah. It needs, like I said, that
Good.
marked tone. It was excellent. What can I say? But you are now completely shadowing him, and he's going to say neither can I soon or something. So,
Move!
yeah, just make sure that you are about where you are now is fine. No, don't know, because then you'll make him turn. Just where you are, but don't. If you stand there, you shade his face. If you stand here, so basically, if you're in line with the back of the chair, that's fine. If you're there, that's no good.
I'll do it again.
Please.
Well, if I'd known that earlier, I wouldn't have called you officious and talked about reporting you. You understand that, don't you, Inspector?
That's better.
I thought you were making the most out of this tiny bit of information I could give you. I'm sorry. This makes a difference, you know. You sure of the facts?
Some of them, yes.
I don't see there can be any great consequence.
The girl's dead, though.
What do you mean by talking like that? You say, oh sorry, you talk as if one of us is responsible.
That's enough, Sheila. Perhaps you and I better go and talk this over quietly in a corner.
No, he's finished with you. He says he's one of us now.
Yes, and I'm trying to settle it sensibly for you.
Well, there's nothing to settle as far as I'm concerned. I've never known Eva Smith.
Neither have I.
Was that her name? Eva Smith?
Yes.
I've never heard of it before.
So, where are you now, Inspector?
Where I was before, Mr. Croft. I told you that, like a lot of these young women, she'd used more than one name. She was still Eva Smith when Mr. Burling sacked her, wanting 25 shillings a week instead of 22 and 6. But after that, she stopped being Eva Smith. Perhaps she's
Jay,
enough
can
of
you
it.
put the house lights
Oh,
down?
yeah.
It seems very dark where they are. And I just wonder if it's because the house lights are on.
No, it's because the second lamp's on.
Yeah, I suppose, but it just does seem...
Yeah, it does see it's.
What, does it bring on one of the other lights as well? They do, don't they?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn said the lamps also, to create a little bit more light, do bring on enough. I mean, if that's all it is, fine, I'll put up with it, but I just was wondering why they
It should
seem
be
so
on.
dark. Yeah, but perhaps it isn't if it's on the same channel as... Because you took that lamp out, didn't you?
This light's not as bright. This isn't
That was
full
the lamp.
light. This isn't full.
3 and 9.
Do you see what I mean?
What's going on here?
This isn't on as
Look.
bright.
Well, the house lights off.
I will do, but then I
Green and
can't
blue.
seem to prompt you or tell you if you've gone in the wrong place.
Am I on the wrong thing completely? I don't know if
Yeah, there's no light on that back table.
That's what it should be.
Right, oh that's better then. Because
There
there was no
should,
light
should
on
be a
that
light here,
table.
front lights.
There should be light at the front, yeah.
That
I've
one.
got my lights on. The lamp's on. Hold on.
Should be as well have that.
A little bit dark.
I can actually
Yeah.
see now.
Well, it was particularly there, and like you say, I know that lamp is out, and Mr. Denton was saying that when these come on, there is actually more real light that comes on as well, just to give it a bit of a boost. So if it's just because of that, fine, then, you know, that'll be...
That's what it should be.
There should be
Plus the
light on.
extra.
Surely
That
it
one was
should be a bit
definitely on. That
more...
one.
Plus,
There's got to
this
be
bit's
more,
lit up.
because look, there's no light at the front. Unless something's gone wrong with... Jay, do you know which light comes on with the lamp?
That should be 5.
That's the one.
That's the one that
Ah.
I'm missing.
That's it. So we're now we're just missing the lamp.
Yeah.
Much better.
Thank God for that. I thought, oh my God, it looks right this morning. What's going on?
Mm.
Where
Right.
we go from?
Right.
Sorry to stop you, but I just
No
couldn't
problem.
look
Where are you
around
now,
anymore.
Inspector?
No, right.
Yes, there's chairs.
Where did you say?
From where are you now, Inspector?
How are you now, Inspector?
Look at that.
Okay, yeah.
I'm shit crazy, to be honest with you. With no paddles.
Right, this is going to be front row roughly, isn't
Cheap
it? right
seat.
here?
Is that cheap seats?
Yeah, it's got a nice seat actually.
Cheap seats are over there.
I'm just swapping about a bit to try and make sure that there's not any, or not too much masking. It's bound to be a little bit.
Ready?
Okay, I'm going to go then.
So, where are you now, Inspector?
Where I was before, Mr. Croft. I told you that, like a lot of these young women, she'd used more than one name. She was still Eva Smith when Mr. Burling sacked her for wanting 25 shillings a week instead of 22 and 6. But after that, she stopped being Eva Smith. Perhaps she'd had enough of it.
Can't blame her.
Well, I think it was a mean thing to do.
Yeah, you're meant to look at him. Yeah, make more of it. Don't throw that line away. It's a dig at your dad.
Can't blame her, you scum bastard.
Yeah, don't go over.
Well, I think it was
Right.
a mean thing to do. Perhaps that spoils everything for her.
Rubbish. Any idea what happened to this
Right,
one?
can we go back? 'Cause that's-
What are you doing that for? Why are you going?
I thought she was going to cut me up, that's why.
No.
thought you were
Right,
doing
can you give him his cue? Because Stuart was obviously thrown, so he didn't do rubbish.
Rubbish.
But after that, she stopped being Eva Smith. Perhaps she'd had enough of it.
Can't blame her.
Well, I think it's a mean thing to do. Perhaps that spoils everything for her.
Rubbish. Any idea what happened to this girl after she left my works, Inspector?
You'll
Yes.
just have to get used to doing that.
She was out of work for the next 2 months. Both her parents were dead, so that she'd have no home to go back to.
Oh, don't stop there.
No, I'm going to turn around immediately.
Oh, that's right, because I can't see Eric.
A gentleman has just seen what little Berlin company had paid her. So after 2 months, no work, no money coming in, living in lodgings, no relatives to help her, few friends, lonely, half starved, she was feeling desperate.
I should think so. It's a rotten shame.
There are a lot of young women living this sort of existence in every city and big town in this country, Miss Berlin. If they weren't, the factories and warehouses wouldn't know where to look for cheap labour. Ask your father.
But these girls aren't cheap labour. They're people.
I've had that notion myself from time to time. In fact, I've often thought that it would do us all a bit of good if sometimes we learned to put ourselves in the place of these young women, counting their pennies in their dingy little back bedrooms.
Well, yes, I expect you would. But what happened to her then?
She had what she felt was a wonderful stroke of luck. She was taken on in a shop, and a good shop too, Millward's.
Millward's? Oh, we go there. In fact, I was in there this afternoon. For your benefit.
Good.
Yes, it was nice to get taken on there.
That's what she thought. And it happened that at the beginning of December that year, 1910, there was a good deal of influenza about, and Millward suddenly found themselves short-handed. So that gave her a chance. Seemed she liked working there. Made a nice change from a factory. She enjoyed being among pretty clothes, no doubt. And now she felt she was making a good, fresh start. Can you imagine how she felt?
Yes, of course.
And then she got herself into trouble there, I suppose.
After about a couple of months, just when she felt she was settling down nicely, they told her she'd have to go.
Oh, not doing her work properly.
There was nothing wrong with the way she was doing her work. They admitted that.
There must have been something wrong.
All she knew was that a customer complained about her, and so she had to go.
When was this, Inspector?
At the end of January last year.
What did this girl look like?
If you'll come over here, I'll show you.
What's the matter with her?
She recognised her from the photograph, didn't she?
Yes.
Why the devil do you want to go upsetting the child like that?
Upsetting the child.
Yeah, upsetting the child like that.
I didn't do it. She's upsetting herself.
Well, why? Why?
I don't know yet. That's something I'll have to find out.
Well, if you don't mind, I'll find out first.
Shall I go to her?
No. I'll also have to have a word with my wife, tell her what's happening. We're having a nice little family party this evening. And what a nasty mess you made of it now, haven't you?
That's more or less what I was thinking earlier tonight when I was in the infirmary looking at what was left of Eva Smith. A nice little promising life there, I thought. And a nasty mess somebody's made of it.
You're on a bit of a steep angle there, Mike. It'd be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be
but,
back.
it'll be easier when we've got the table because you'll be able to centre yourself with the table.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he was standing too there, I was talking. Okay.
Yeah, and you meant.
Why the devil do you want to go upsetting the child like that?
Yeah. So I'll show you the
We might need to move all the table
No,
stuff over a bit more, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Is it end to go out again?
Yes, please.
We were having a nice little family party tonight. And what a nasty mess somebody's made of it now.
That's more or less-
right. What a nasty mess you made of it now, haven't you?
That's more or less what I was thinking earlier tonight when I was in the infirmary looking at what was left of Eva Smith. A nice little promising life there, I thought. And a nasty mess somebody's made of it.
I'd like to have a look at that girl's photograph now, Inspector.
All in good time.
I don't see why...
I'm sorry, is that
No, it's not him. There you go. I'd like to have a look at that girl's photograph now, Inspector.
All in good time.
I don't see
You know
why...
what I said before, Mr. Croft. One line of inquiry at a time. Otherwise we'll all be talking at once and we won't know where we are. If you've anything to tell me, you'll have an opportunity of doing it later on.
I don't suppose I have anything to tell you. That's yours.
Right, Eric.
Sit!
Gerald, you'll have to stand back a little bit because
Yeah.
you're not masking him, but you're shadowing him.
I never remember this line. I'm sorry that we're
If
having
you-
a party and I'm pissed off my face, but
Yeah. If you stand, stay at that end of the stage, you'll be alright.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
here.
sorry, but
Well, it's just,
It's good for you now.
Ross, it's just got to be, you're listening, you're taking it all in, but it's, it's like you're going in and out of it all a bit. But yeah, that sort of
So they
thing,
go-
but not in a grotesque, not in an over-the-top way. But it is that sort of, look, I'm back here and I've suddenly remembered what you're saying. And,
I'm free!
just try and do it. It is an outburst, you're just not quite in control of what's going on and you just want to get out.
Screech.
Alright, so try again. If you need to do it really grotesque and then tone it down, that's fine, but I need something, you know, you need something.
Don't encourage me.
No, sometimes that's a good
Alright.
Sometimes that's a good way of getting something right, is go well over the top and then tone it down
That's
so it's normal.
Okay, where should we go?
Do you have anything to tell me?
If you've anything to tell me, you'll have an opportunity of doing it later on.
Well, I don't suppose that I do have anything to tell you.
I'm sorry, but you see, we were having a little party and I've had rather a lot to drink, including rather a lot of champagne, and oh fuck.
That was a good out, that was a good
No, I
coming
just
in
can't
there.
remember the line.
Yeah.
Can't say.
And you can always sort of, you know, look at the inspector, because
That's it.
it's them two talk, you can sort of look at him and then, look, I'm sorry, and what you did with your hand, that was good.
What?
You remember the lines now?
Rather a lot of champagne, and I really want to turn it.
If you've anything to tell me, you'll have an opportunity of doing it soon.
Well, I don't suppose that I do
I'm
have
sorry,
anything to
but you see, we were having a little party and I've had rather a lot to drink, including a bit of champagne, and I really ought to turn in, so you cut me off.
I don't know.
May as well.
No, you don't. You don't cut him off.
Oh well.
Well, you've missed out a bit. Rather a lot of champagne, and I've got a headache. And as I'm only in the way here, I think I'd better turn in.
And that's
It's meant to be very disjointed.
Alright.
Okay.
Including rather a lot of champagne, and I've got a headache, and as I'm only in the way here, I think I'd better turn in.
And I think you better stay here.
Why should I?
You might be less trouble.
Okay, can we do that again, please, for Ross? But go back to same place.
If you've anything to tell me, you'll have an opportunity of doing it soon.
Well, I don't suppose that I do have
I'm
anything
sorry,
to
but you see, we were having a little party here, and I've had rather a lot to drink, including a bit of champagne, and I've got a headache, and as I'm only in the way here, I think I'd better turn in.
And I think you better stay here.
Why should I?
You might be less trouble. If you turn in now, you may have to turn out again soon.
Getting a bit heavy-handed, aren't we, Inspector?
That's good, carry on.
Perhaps. But if you're easy with me, I'm easy with you.
After all, we're respectable citizens, not criminals.
Sometimes, there isn't as much difference as you'd think. Often, if it was left to me, I wouldn't know where to draw the line.
Fortunately, it isn't left to you, is it?
No, it isn't. But some things are left up to me. Inquiries of this sort, for instance.
Sorry.
Just wait for me.
I had an idea it might be. Or something the girl herself wrote.
Right, we need a bit more of a pause there somehow. We need to
Oh, I
change.
just
We need to change the pace. Yeah.
End of a script.
You need your script. Bloody hell, Candace. What do you mean, what? It's dress rehearsal tomorrow night.
So? I didn't know it. It's just there in case.
In case. Security blanket time is over. Right, can we have your,
Really test to see.
can you have your entrance again, Candace? That you go. Right, so,
No, it isn't. But some things are left up to me. Inquiries of this sort, for instance. Boundstone?
You knew it to me all the time, didn't you?
I had an idea it might be. From something the girl herself wrote.
Oh, I told my father about it. He didn't seem to think it amounted to much. I felt rotten about it at the time, and now I feel a lot worse. Did it make much of a difference to her?
Yes, I'm afraid it did.
yeah, can we have the emphasis on much? Did it make much of a difference to her?
Did it make much of a difference to her?
Yes, I'm afraid it did. When she lost her job at Millwoods, for no reason that she could discover, she thought she might have to... She thought she would have to try something else?
Hang on.
She might as well try another one of life.
Right, yeah. When she lost her job, for no reason that she could discover, she thought she may as well try another kind of life.
So I'm really responsible.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to look at this and look at you. I'm lost in place. Right.
Yes, I'm afraid it did. When she lost her job, for no reason that she could discover, she thought she may as well try another kind of life.
So I'm really responsible.
No, not entirely. But you're partly to blame.
Right, you move.
Yeah, I moved out.
Let's not go.
Yes, I'm afraid it did.
Yeah, sorry.
Let's not go to Tune here because he's sad. From where I was,
Good. Yes, you start touching you over
I
there.
know. You're what you
So
said.
I'm really responsible.
No, the bit before.
Did it make much of
Oh,
a
yeah.
difference?
Did it make much of a difference to me?
Yes, I'm afraid it did. When she lost her job at Millwoods, for no reason that she could discover, she thought she may as well try another kind of life.
So I'm really responsible.
No, not entirely. But you're partly to blame, just as your father is.
But what did Sheila do?
Well, I went to Millwoods and I went to try something on. No one else.
Right, yeah, go to the centre. Remember when the table's there, centre of the table sort of thing, and then you can use the space freely.
Well, I went to manager at Millwoods and told him if he didn't get rid of the girl, then I'd never go in there again. And I'd send Mother to close our account with him.
Why did you do that?
Because I was in a furious temper.
What this girl done to make you lose your temper?
When I was looking.
Pardon?
When I was looking at
When I
myself.
was looking at myself in the mirror, I thought, oh, that's totally wrong.
No, it's not. When I was looking at myself in the mirror,
Oh, yeah.
I caught sight of her smiling.
Well, when I was looking at myself in the mirror, I caught sight of this. Yeah, of this is smiling. This
I
girl
caught sight of
smiling.
her smiling.
I caught sight of her smiling at the assistant. I was furious with her, and I've been in a bad temper anyhow.
Was it the girl's fault?
No, not really. It was my own fault. All right, George, you needn't look at me like that. At least I'm trying to tell the truth. I'm sure you've done things you're ashamed of too.
Well, I didn't say that.
Never mind about that. You can settle that between you afterwards. What happened?
Well, I went to Mills to try something on. Being an idea of my own, and Mother had been against it. And so had the assistant. But I insisted. As soon as I tried it on, I knew they were right. It just didn't suit me at all. And I
You
looked
can
silly.
afford to come a little bit more, actually. Yeah.
I looked
I
silly.
know. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to get you into the right space.
Well, this girl had brought it up from the workroom, and when the assistant, Miss Francis, had asked her something about it, the girl had held up the dress as if she was wearing it, and it just suited her. She was the right type for it, just as I was the wrong type. And yeah, she was a very pretty girl too, with big dark eyes, and that didn't make it any better. Well, when I tried the thing on, I caught sight of her smiling at the assistant, as if to say, so she looked awful. And I was absolutely furious with her. I went to the manager and told her this girl had been very impertinent. Well, how could I know what was to happen afterwards? If she'd been some little plain little creature, I don't suppose I'd done it. But she wasn't. She was very pretty, and so she could take care of herself. I couldn't be sorry for her.
In fact, in a kind of way, you might be said to have been jealous of her.
Would we do all that again, Candace? Do you mind?
The whole thing.
Yeah, please.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good for you. It's good for you.
yeah.
Yeah, tell the story. Like we said, look out there, see it all happening. And when you hold the dress up, can you do it more, because they're long dresses, if you sort of hold it there and at the waist, because there's, it'll be a lot of material. So hold it there as if you're looking, and then you just catch sight of her behind you in the mirror. 'Cause it's because you're looking, you can see her over your shoulder laughing at you.
Okay.
And now we're into the late stage. Please don't sit down during a long speech.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Well, I went in to try something on. It'd been an idea of my own, Mother had been against it, and so had the assistant. But I insisted. As soon as I tried it on, I knew they were right. It just didn't suit me at all.
Keep your eyes out there. Don't even try and look at him. It doesn't matter. All right.
I looked silly in the thing. Well, when the girl brought this dress up from the workroom, the assistant, Miss Francis, had asked her to try something about it. She held it up as if she was wearing it, and it just suited her. She looked, and it was right, she was the right type for it, just as I was the wrong type. And she was a very pretty girl too, with big dark eyes, and that didn't make it any better. Well, when I tried the thing on, I caught sight of her smile at the assistant, as if to say, doesn't she look awful? I was absolutely furious. I went to the manager and told him it was going to be very impertinent. Well, how could I know what's to happen afterwards? It should be some miserable plain little creature. I don't suppose I'd done it. But she wasn't. She was very pretty. I couldn't be sorry for her.
So in fact, in a kind of way, you might be said to have been jealous of her.
Yes, I suppose so.
So you used the power you had, as the daughter of a good customer, and also of a man well known about the town, to punish the girl, just because she made you feel like that.
Yes, but don't you understand? Is that the don't you understand one?
Yes, but it didn't seem to be better than terrible at the time. I don't understand it.
Yes, you walk away. Sorry, I was just
Yeah.
checking in
It
here.
did seem to be very terrible at the time. Don't you understand? If I would, oh. Was it?
It didn't seem better than terrible at the time. I don't understand. If I could help her now, I would.
What's shadowing?
It did seem very terrible at the
Say
time.
properly.
Don't you understand? If I could help her now, I would.
Yes, but you can't. It's too late. She's dead.
My God, it's a bit thick.
Oh, shut up, Erica.
No,
No.
okay, now, Candace, I know you've all got a lot to think about with the lines, but he's going to speak, so you've got to be back on the carpet, yeah. All right. If you make sure you're about there, if you're sort of there in line with the chair, we should still. I'll tell you if I can see. I think I will be able to. Just so people over here can see what's going on. I can just see him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there would be better. Especially as you're going to go to him, you're going to go over a little way. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good move.
It doesn't matter so much if people don't speak, but you're about to have a little argument with him, so we need to see him. Right, can you do it again?
Okay, cool. Don't you understand?
Mm.
Is it?
But it didn't seem to be very terrible at the time.
Yes, but it did seem to be very terrible at the time. Don't you understand? If I could help her now, I would.
Yes, but you can't. It's too late, she's dead.
Oh my God, it's a bit thick.
Oh, shut up, Eric! I know! If I would never do it again to anybody. I've seen them giving me that look at Millwards. Even this afternoon. And I suppose some of them remember. Oh, how could this happen?
Oh, why had this to happen?
Yeah, why has this had to happen?
That's what I asked myself tonight when I was looking at the dead girl. And then I said to myself, well, we'll try and understand why it had to happen. No, sorry, maybe you were right, Donald, because I put the emphasis on the why, don't I?
Why?
Why has this had to happen? That's what I asked myself tonight when I was looking at that dead girl. And then I said to myself, well, we'll try and understand why it had to happen.
Yeah, the emphasis on understanding, okay. And then I said to myself, well, we'll try and understand why it had to happen. And that's why I'm here. And why I'm not going until I know all that happened. Eva Smith lost her job with Burley and Company because the strike failed and they were determined not to have another one. At last she found herself a job in a good shop, in a big shop, and had to leave there because you were annoyed with yourself and passed that annoyance on to her. So now she had to try a different kind of life. So first she changed her name to Daisy Renton.
What?
I said she changed her name to Daisy Renton.
Do you mind if I get myself a drink, Sheila?
Where is your father, Miss Burley?
He went into the drawing room to tell Mum what was happening here. Eric, take me and inspect into the drawing room. Well, Gerald, does he say? Well, Gerald,
Well, what, Sheila?
how did you come to know this girl, Eva Smith?
I didn't.
Daisy Renton then, it's the same thing.
Where did you get the idea that I knew her?
Dude, stupid, you gave yourself away as soon as he mentioned your other name.
All right, I knew her. Let's leave it at that.
We can't leave it to that.
Look, darling.
Sorry. No, it's no use. Not only did you know her, but you knew her very well, otherwise you're not so guilty about it. When did you first get to know her? Was it after she left Millwards? When she changed her name, like he said, and began to lead a different sort of life? Was it during last spring and summer, when you hardly ever came near me because you said you were too busy with the works? Were you? Yes, of course you were.
I'm sorry, Sheila, but this was all over and done with last summer. I hadn't set eyes on this girl for 6 months, so I don't come into this suicide business.
I thought I did half an hour ago.
You don't. Neither of us does. So for God's sake, don't say anything to the inspector.
About you and this girl?
Yes, we can keep it from him.
You fool. He knows. Of course he knows. I'll take to think him how much he knows that we don't yet. You'll see, Gerald. You'll see.
Well?
Yeah, but Miss B and Sheila.
So we may as well.
Well, Candace hasn't got to go, but she's... Pardon?
I turned the camera on me once and then Ross started swearing and I just cracked up on the floor. Maybe I'll run away to the zoo.